Former leader of Nagorno-Karabakh, Ruben Vandayan. I am Constance Mega. And we begin the news this evening with the Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, asking the Rivers State government and other oil-producing states to prioritize the needs of their people in their choice of projects. Well, the Deputy Director of SERAP, Kolawole Oludare, said this while speaking on Nigerian 4FM's Morning Crossfire today, when Mr. Kolawole also stressed the need for transparency in the system to allow for proper feedback from the people.
They are holding power on behalf of the people to determine, based on what the people want, who gets what, when, and how. That is very important. It means that the governors of these all-producing states, to put it in context, receive this allocation on behalf of the people from the federal government, and they should use those funds based on the needs of the people. So it is not what the governor thinks per time it is right. And that means that there must be transparency and accountability for people to give feedback enough to say, this is what we need per time.
Well, the Deputy Director of SERAP also asked Nigerians to do away with politics of religion and tribalism.
It is very important that the people are educated enough to own the advocacy for good governance, and also includes understanding enough of governance to discard elements of tribe politics or religion, which actually mars the advocacy of the people for good governance. And I'm happy you've mentioned this. You've spoken about laws. That most things, and this is very clear, that the challenges we have in governance, it's not about the lack of laws. Of course, laws in the world are not perfect. They are supposed to be a tool of social engineering.
The Commissioner for Youths in Rivers State, Chisom Bali, has kicked against granting amnesty to cultists or bandits. The Commissioner of Youth said this while speaking with our correspondent, Onyeka Chinwosu. But Dr. Wali said granting amnesty to repentant cultists can only encourage more people to go into cultism and banditry.
By the time you're giving amnesty to a pocket of youths that have decided to take arms, you're eulogizing them. You're making them feel like they are more important than the people who are law-abiding. Anybody who wants to venture into anything that is inimical to the societal values, the wrath of the law should catch up with the person. There are people, no matter what you do to resuscitate them, it will be difficult. Like those who are into fire, kidnapping, yahoo. There are these kind of monies that are not what you see in our regular society. So it will be difficult to pull them out. And when they are caught, they will face prosecution. So I am absolutely against amnesty.
Well, the Commissioner for Youth, Dr. Wali, also confirmed the arrest of robbers who sexually harassed and stole from students of the Rivers State University.
As a new government, they also want to dare the capacity and the willpower of His Excellency, the Governor of Rivers State, who swung into action that issue of Ahoda and then the attack on the student community, Port Harcourt. And we have recovered, we have arrested some of those culprits. And these are the things we are talking to them to desist from crime and criminality, because those things, they have a limited time. We are also giving them hope, and we have outlined a framework of action that the Governor gave us express approval on human capacity building.
Moving on, Labour leaders in Rivers State say they have begun plans to comply with the planned nationwide indefinite strike called by the national leadership of the NLC and TUC. Well, the chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress in the state, Alex Agwanwo, told correspondent Soibi Oruwari that the state committee of the two unions will soon meet to deliberate and adopt the resolutions of the national body.
We're already mobilizing, because after there was a joint NEC meeting today of NSC TUC, where we agreed that the strike will commence on the 3rd of October. Due to government unwillingness to make any offer on the table, but right now there's nothing that we put on the table in regards to all our demands. We're meeting on Friday to also deliberate on the resolution of the National Safety Council meeting that I held yesterday, both NSC and TUC, and possibly adopt the resolution and mobilize towards the 3rd of October directive.
Also, the state chairman of TUC, Foster Onyefuru, said all affiliated bodies of the union will fully comply with the directives from the national body.
It's a national directive, and for us in Rivers State, we are part of the NEC of the Labour Centers, TUC and NLC. We've officially received the directive, and we have State Executive Council meeting on Friday. TUC and NLC SEC we meet in Rivers State, but the directive is very clear, so it's expected that all our affiliate unions will withdraw service from 3rd October until federal government hits our demand.
But Mr. Onyefuru also explained why some affiliate bodies will be exempted from the indefinite strike.
Yes, when we have a directive for nationwide strike, it's always total. The only thing we normally consider is the emergency services, covers hospitals, because we don't want Nigerians who are sick or not to receive attention in the hospital. So the emergency services, hospital, fire service will always work. But any other services that is not classified as emergency will be impacted, including but not limited to the oil and gas production. That's the national directive. We will comply fully.
Well, in the meantime, a former Port Harcourt zonal chairman of Nupeng, Godwill Aruba, said Nigerians must not leave the struggle to liberate the country in the hands of Labour leaders alone.
Labour should also not be left alone in this matter, because sometimes I also hold Nigerians responsible. The way we feel so comfortable about hardship makes me begin to think if we are from a different planet altogether. I mean, we Nigeria. Ordinarily, what is happening in Nigeria cannot happen in other countries. They would have reacted much more seriously than we are doing here. How can anybody be expecting only Labour to be shouting? Labour can only provide leadership. They can only provide leadership when a Nigerian that feel the pain, and all of us are really feeling the pain, we have to join it.
Well, Mr. Aruba also called on the federal government to ensure that it gives more priority to the informal sector as it plans to increase the salaries of civil servants in the country. Meanwhile, some Port Harcourt residents want organised labour not to back down on its planned industrial action. The respondents also spoke to our correspondents on their plans to ensure that the strike succeeds.
If them go for the country today, good, make them go. If waiting them go do, go make fuel to come down. Things come down, we say make them go ahead and make federal government answer them.
Does anything good come easy? It should be done with immediate effect. Before the government ever think of, say, okay, we want to move first subsidy, they would have put something in place. They would have repaid the refinery. If the leadership of NSA is not bribed and they go on indefinite strike for a very long time, this will reverse for real.
The strike, as long as say now for the betterment of people, as in we the citizens, I go like them because I know say the reason why they go strike now to address some things like this fuel now, as it don't high like this now.
In other news, the chairman of the Universal Basic Education Board, UBE, Dr. Fineface Aka, has directed all teachers, head teachers and principals duly transferred to proceed on transfer or face disciplinary sanctions. But Dr. Fineface Aka said this today while speaking to journalists in Port Harcourt. He said routine transfer of teachers and principals is part of school management and operations, and non-compliance will not be tolerated.
A great majority of our teaching staff who currently are due transferred and were duly transferred for the new academic year have refused to proceed on transfers since the opening of the new school year. All such persons should know that they are doing that at their own risk, and no head teacher nor principal of a basic school in River State will be spared who will be discovered to have kept or allowed any teacher on transfer to continue in the old school.
Well, he charged the teachers, head teachers and principals to reciprocate the recent employment and ongoing promotion exercise in the state. A federal high court in Abuja has granted an order of a perpetual injunction restraining the Minister of Petroleum Resources, Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPCL, Nigeria LNG Limited, and the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board from carrying out further works or operations on the site of the NLNG plant in Finima community. The court also ordered NLNG Limited to immediately recognize Finima in Boni local government area of Rivers State as the host community of NLNG plant and other facilities owned by the company in the community. The court's order follows an application brought by Waria Labo Inima Dixon Brown. Justice Donato Sokorowo, while delivering judgment, also granted all reliefs sought by the plaintiffs and further directed all the defendants to effect a lease agreement between the Finima community and the NLNG and or any other interested or relevant party within 30 days from the date of the judgment. While a true certified copy of the judgment obtained by a correspondent showed that the court also directed the Nigeria LNG Limited to accord and award the plaintiffs directly their entitlements, privileges and benefits that have accrued and are accruable to them as a host community. Still to come, INEC raises alarm over level of insecurity in Kogi, Imo states ahead of November 11th governorship elections. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for staying with us. And now to the rest of the news. The Imam of the University of Port Harcourt Mosque, Abdulrazak Kilani, says Eid al-Maulud is a period for Muslims to reflect on the life of Prophet Muhammad and how they can exemplify his lifestyle. Professor Kilani, also a lecturer at the Department of Religious and Cultural Studies, advised the political class, businessmen and judiciary workers to desist from corrupt practices as it contradicts the teachings of the Prophet.
Maulud Nabi is the day Prophet Muhammad was born. It's a kind of a reflective ceremony. The significance is monumental in the sense that whoever is a Muslim should be able to see the life of Prophet Muhammad as a compass. If you're a politician, Muhammad was a statesman. If you're a businessman, it was called Alami, that is a trustworthy person. You should be able to translate that into how you do business, either in the public sector or in the private sector. If you are a judge, Muhammad was also a judge. They should be able to look at it from the point of how justice should be administered, irrespective of the class, creed, or ethnicity.
Well, in an interview with our correspondent, the University Dawn spoke on the need for all to emulate the lifestyle of Prophet Muhammad, and he also spoke against justice for the highest bidder.
The message of God is always one. Starting from Adam up to Muhammad, it's always one. The heavens and the earth are established on the basis of justice. Justice should play a particular place in our day-to-day activities, whether you're a religious leader, university lecturer, politician, whatever profession that you have, you must incorporate justice as an important ingredient of our day-to-day activities. A society where justice is bought on the basis of the highest bidder, such society cannot progress.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says the level of insecurity in Kogi and Imo states is capable of scaring potential voters in the November 11th governorship elections. The INEC National Commissioner and member, Information and Voter Education Committee, Mohammed Haruna, raised the alarm in Owerri, Imo State. Mr. Haruna said the growing level of violence and insecurity in the two states is unacceptable, unnecessary and worrisome. He also said the commission is already having a shortfall in the number of ad hoc staff needed to conduct the forthcoming elections. Satellite Television DSTV says its subscribers will enjoy 1 year of non-stop premium entertainment, VVIP customer service, a limited edition gold decoder, and exclusive lifestyle benefits when they sign up for the DSTV Prestige. In a statement, the company said it is offering the special package called the DSTV Prestige and turning its focus to the world of luxury, where exclusivity reigns and customers seek more than just stocks to create unique and exclusive experiences. The statement says subscribers enjoy exclusive discounts from Swatch, Nike, Eco Hotel, Polo Luxury, Med Plus, Tommy Hilfiger, Adidas, and others. While it also said that the DSTV Prestige is a true embodiment of exclusivity and special treatment. While it urged those interested to visit dstv.com/prestige to sign up. In business, a business and financial analyst, Ignatius Chukwu, says Nigerians should not expect economic miracles from the new governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Yemi Cardoso. When Mr. Chukwu spoke to correspondent Soibi Oruwari on this.
Managing the consequences of forest windows that were all closed and made one window, managing it is what Nigerians expect. Where we are is that you have a CBN leader who is only going to take instructions from people who are managing the CBN from outside the CBN. Decisions have already been made for him. Major economic policies have already been made. Subsidy has already been removed. Financial, fiscal, and economic decisions have been made. He is simply to sit down there and take the bullet.
But Mr. Chukwu also spoke on how best the new CBN governor can solve the problem of foreign exchange.
I am in support of removing protection from currencies, but I expect a lot of backup and back-end defensive mechanisms. How did you arrive at that? Or was there a shadow government that was sitting before? So if the new CBN is part of a shadow government that decided this closing all windows, then we are expecting him now to come and manage the rattlesnake. But if he was not part of it, it means you are handing over a lorry already loaded and you want him to drive it to where you want.
Well, the financial analyst also advised the new leadership of the CBN to restore and encourage the yearly auditing of the Apex Bank to regain the confidence of citizens and foreign investors.
But for a beginning, I'll expect him to restore discipline and order in the CBN. We were meant to understand that a requirement of the law is that the CBN account ought to be audited every year and tabled before the National Assembly to look at. We are meant to understand that what is before the National Assembly is about 7 to 8 years. The place is running like that, where statutory requirements and obligations are not met as at when due. You can easily say that probably control and discipline had broken down in that place.
In entertainment, the action thriller The Black Book is now number 1 on Netflix, setting a new record within a short time since its release. The movie was released on Friday, 22nd September 2023. And in sports, Nigeria has lost the joint bid to host the 2027 African Cup of Nations to Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania.
And now, we bring you news from around the world.
Azerbaijan has arrested a former leader of Nagorno-Karabakh, Ruben Vardanyan, as he tried to leave the enclave for Armenia. Mr. Vardanyan, a businessman, headed the separatist government from November 2022 until February. In all, 47,115 ethnic Armenians have now fled Nagorno-Karabakh, which was seized by Azerbaijan last week, when Mr. Vardanyan's wife appealed for support to ensure his safe release. And that's the news this evening. But before we go, a recap. On the news this evening, you heard that SERAP has charged Rivers State and other oil-producing states to prioritize people-oriented projects. The Rivers State Commissioner for Youth, Chisom Bali, has kicked against granting amnesty to cultists. Labour leaders in Rivers State have promised to comply with the planned nationwide indefinite strike. And the Rivers State Universal Basic Education Board says it will discipline teachers and principals who fail to proceed on transfer. INEC has raised alarm over the level of insecurity in Kogi and Imo states ahead of the 11th November governorship elections. And on the foreign scene, you heard that Azerbaijan has arrested former leader of Nagorno-Karabakh, Ruben Vardanyan. The news was edited by Onyeka Chinwosu. Partly cloudy weather in Port Harcourt this evening. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. Remember, peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. I'm Constance Mega. Thank you so much for listening.